Sportscast, August 18th, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. And, of course, visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest. This episode is brought to you by InstaBible app. You can download the InstaBible app on the iOS App Store. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, has advanced to the Champions League final. This is breaking news. For the first time in club history, they'll be in the Champions League final, which is this weekend. And besides soccer, we're heading back into the Southeast, a sacred part when it comes to football. Alabama has announced they're limiting attendance to 20% during college football season. It's only August 18th. We'll see what happens. Season starts on August 26th. We got Justin Riley all the way from Central Mississippi. Welcome to the Sportscast.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Another Tuesday, doing what we do best.
Justin, Alabama made a statement today. They're allowing some fans 20%. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, we all knew over the past several weeks as things began to develop that we were going to have a modified season in every facet of the game, and one being the stadium capacity. What was that going to look like? We knew it was going to be modified to some degree. Now we finally get a clearer picture. So 20% is the magical number, and that's what we're going with. I'm not surprised at all. I kind of figured it was going to be low. So here's where we are.
I thought it was going to be one, but all fans and staff will have to undergo a health check in order to obtain a passport prior to entering the stadium. That will be obtained via the website. So you got to go through the website, make reservations. And then after individuals complete a health check questionnaire that requests a temperature reading, possible symptoms, and potential contact with infected individuals. The school has moved to mobile-only ticketing, and fans will have to wear a mask upon entering the stadium. Working staff at the stadium must wear a mask at all times. It'd be cool to interview someone that's been through that process.
Yeah, definitely. It's something we can try to revisit later in the season. And yeah, it'd be great to hear what the experience is like.
Anyways, we Justin and I don't have tickets to the to any Alabama games this season, but you never know when it comes to the Sportscast. Justin, can you it's that time of the show. Can you do the honors?
Absolutely will. Guys, it is Tuesday. That means we are spending it with the Tide, or at least a former Tide legend. And today is no disappointment. But first, before I introduce my guest, got to give a shout out to Rama Jammas. The 2020 season may be limited to conference-only games. One thing that is not limited is the menu of Rama Jammas. Come by during the week to choose from any of their championship caliber menu items. Wear your mask and bring your appetite. Rama Jammas, one of the greatest traditions in the South.
Plus, they're not limiting like the whole dining to 20%. It's a full capacity, right?
Hey man, it's go time. I hadn't heard any updates, anything different. So everybody's welcome at this point. All right, guys, it's time. I'm very excited because I have a little bit of a hometown connection with our guest tonight. He is a former Northwest Rankin Cougar. That's from my high school. 2009 SEC champion, 2009 national champion. He played a little bit in the NFL and the Arena Football League, and he is the owner of the Warehouse Performance Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike McCoy.
What's going on, guys? Thank you guys for having me.
Mike, welcome to the Sportscast. How have you been doing these past couple months during the pandemic?
Well, it's been weird. Definitely been weird. But it's been a blessing too. My son was born 2 days before they shut everything down. So, yeah, I've been just spending a lot of time being a father, first-time father. So, and trying to find some type of normalcy through this. But I'm good. It's weird, but I'm good.
You're surviving, and
yeah.
Congratulations on the newborn. And something to definitely have a good memory. So, Mike, as we always ask all our guests, or like the first question is, how did you get started with football?
Believe it or not, basketball was my first love. I was actually introduced by mistake, I guess you would call it a mistake. I was the fastest kid in fifth, sixth grade, and they asked my mom, uh, "Hey, can Mike play?" She said, "If y'all pay for it, he can." So first time I touched the pigskin was it was an 80-yard touchdown. So it's been football ever since.
That's a pretty good indicator that you were good at what you did there. But yeah, Mike, I'm pretty excited because, like I said, you played at my high school, Northwest Rankin. I played with your cousin Cedric Horton coming up. Your coach, David Coach, was my coach. Can you kind of go through what your high school experience at Northwest Rankin was like, and how you quickly actually rose to stardom there?
Uh, I mean, a lot of people know are everybody's familiar with the McCoys. Of course, my cousin Cedric, he's my cousin, my first cousin. But I had older brothers, older cousins. Um, so we just competed. Now it's a lot different. We grew up fanning. It's the good country living. Like, growing up, we played on dirt courts. We used to get the water hose to sprinkle to keep the dust down. We used to run
Yeah.
from dogs. We used to ride bikes. That's just kind of what we grew up. So Northwest, it was. I mean, it was good. It was a good experience. I kind of knew what I wanted. Um, I mean, I just had a great experience. I knew what I wanted, and I made it happen.
How were you in high school? What type of player were you?
Man, I guess I was pretty much stretch the field. Whatever you needed me to do, I was a kickoff returner, blocker. One of my coaches told me, he said, "Man, if you want to play in the SEC, you got to learn how to block." So I took pride in stuff like that. They told me I couldn't be one dimensional. So, because basketball, I played basketball. Was pretty decent at that. So everything I took from the basketball court, I mean, that's basically what a wide receiver is. I'm a point guard that has no rules. I can travel as much as I want to. I can wiggle a little bit at the top of the route. So, I mean, it was an easy adjustment.
Who was your favorite basketball player back when you were in high school?
Oh man, Kobe Bryant. I was going to name my son Kobe. My wife wouldn't let me. I was going to name my son Kobe Michael. Yep.
And
Had the
and
name picked out and everything.
and who was your favorite wide receiver back in the day, back in high
It's
school?
tough, man. I had a lot of guys that I looked up to. I was a big Chad Johnson fan, Terrell Owens, uh, Reggie Wayne for as far as route running. Love Brandon Marshall, big frame. Um, Lynn Swan. I love the older guys. Chris Carter, Randy, of course, Jerry Rice. I mean, you name them. I didn't have a favorite. I tried to take something from every receiver and apply it to my game.
That was a great era of wide receiver. So yeah, like you said, it's a hard choice there to make. So you really can't narrow it down to just one guy. I agree with you there. Now you started rising to fame pretty early. Your sophomore year, Southern Miss showed interest, then Ole Miss, and more offers started rolling in. But you weren't exactly looking to go in state. You were really looking to go out of state. What was making you, I guess, think along that line?
Believe it or not, if I would have stayed in state, I would have went to Southern Miss simply because of Jay Hopson. I know he was the recruiting coach when I was my sophomore year, and I'm a pretty loyal guy. And it's kind of ironic he's the head coach there now. It's funny how things come full circle. Great guy. He was going to be the reason I went. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I was not a fan. I'm not going to get into that.
How were
Yeah.
they back then? Were they like very competitive, those schools, or
Yeah, I mean, as far as competitive in the SEC,
like SEC?
no, I ain't gonna say that. I wanted to. And the ultimate goal was to go to the NFL. And the reason why I chose Bama is Keith Brown and DJ Hall were the dynamic duo of the SEC that year. And I was like, if I can go just take one of their jobs, I'm gonna have a shot. So that was my mentality. And I love Coach Shula at the time. He doesn't get enough credit. I love Coach Shula and Coach Sparky Woods and then my receiver coach, Coach Harbison. He was the first, like me, I was just sure, I guess you would call it a sure athlete as far as just playing ball. But when I got to Bama, DJ took me under his wing and showed me how to play wide receiver. It was an art to it. So to answer your question, to stay, Mississippi State really didn't have 1,000-yard receiver at that time. They were running. They were good. I was a Coach Kroon fan. Ole Miss, no.
Who was your close second after Alabama?
It was my top three schools were LSU, Auburn, and Alabama. Those were my top three schools.
Wow. And can you name another school that was kind of lurking around a lot, we're really was really like asking you a whole lot? Like, was there any other school out there?
I mean, those were my top three schools. I was number one and number two on all three of those schools, recruiting as far as receivers were concerned. So I came out with Brandon LaFell. I came out with Tim Hawthorne. I came out with Percy Harvin. So Shay Hodges, of course. All of us, we saw each other at all the camps. Kendrick Lewis, all those guys that came Tebow era. So that class was pretty stacked. So we all fed off each other. But Alabama just felt like home. I can't explain. It was just my first time on campus, and it was just like, man, I could see myself here.
How was the ambience of Alabama back then? Like, was it in a rebuilding?
It wasn't. See, people don't realize. So before I got there, they went 10-2. So 05, they went 10-2. You had Pro Throw, you had LaRon McClain, you had Juwan Simpson. I mean, that was a good program. Now when I got there, my freshman year, we just had they were a young team that had a lot of seniors that graduated. So it was a rebuilding year that year. But our recruiting class, like, we were stacked. You had guys like Justin Woodall that came in. Terry Grant. You had Andre Smith that came in. Javier Arenas. And you had a lot of guys that were redshirted, like guys like Rashad Johnson, who finally got really an opportunity to show up. Kareem Jackson came in a year later. So, I mean, we were surrounded by talent. I compare it to Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr, if that makes it in the NBA. When he got the Golden State Warriors, they had a lot of talent, but Kerr kind of inherited and just, I'm going with it. But yeah,
championship favorite. Now you're definitely a huge basketball fan if you are referencing to Kerr and Jackson. Which other freshmen were you really close with when you first started?
Believe it or not, my roommates, of course, but I was close to. We were all pretty close. Of course, the Mississippi guys, me, Milton Talbert, and Terry Grant. And Javi, they were my roommates. But Brian Motley, he was from Montaugaville, Alabama. Him and I became real good friends.
That first season of yours didn't pan out quite the way many had hoped. We finished 6-7 with losses to Auburn and Oklahoma State at the end. Of course, everyone knows Coach Shula was fired after the Iron Bowl. What do you think led to that disappointing season? And at that time, was departing from Shula the right decision?
Oof.
I don't know. That's tough. And people, again, Shula was a great coach. I mean, I think he just needed some pieces around him. If you take a look at what Coach Saban does, he puts people around him that are experts at what they do. And it's almost like, I'm not going to look over your shoulder. This is what I expect you to do. Idea. Coach Saban brings in guys that are experts. Coach Shula, on the other hand, he was still a young guy. Majority of his staffers were older than him. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like now that I'm looking at us actually talking about it, I feel like, it's like a respect thing. Like you got an older uncle that you tell him, hey man, do your job, but it's almost like, you don't want to step on no toes, even though they need to be stepped on. It's not personal, it's business idea. But I think he needed at least one more season to prove himself.
Do you feel like
Which,
he was
yeah,
unfairly criticized because, like you said, he was young and this was his real first head coaching experience? Not only that, majority of the seasons he was there, except for the 2005 season, so many players, including Brody Kroll, were hurt. So he wasn't
Yeah.
really able to show us what he could do.
I think if it was anybody else, I think they would have had a little longer stint. Again, like you said, a lot of players were hurt, so that forces you to. There's other factors that plays into that. A lot of weight room issues, or are the guys taking care of themselves issues. So it doesn't all fall on him. So I do think it was unfairly criticized.
which other coaches in the team that you really got along with?
You talking about like just on the team, that team, or
Yeah,
just my
like that
era
first
there?
year, like the assistant coaches.
Man, believe it or not, Coach TJ, he's still there. That is a legend.
Yes.
I couldn't stand Coach TJ. I couldn't stand Coach TJ. But I love him. He's my mentor. I talk to him all the time. He helps me in my business now. So that's like my godfather of who helped me get into this besides Coach Cochran. So uh, who else? Justin Woodall, him and I were close back in the day. Marquise, well, that was my first year. But DJ, Keith, and Matt Cadell took me under their wings. So I really hung with them pretty heavy. But, man, for the most part, if anybody knows me, I keep a small circle. I'm really like a lone.
I can tell, man. That's awesome.
Your career kind of got started at Alabama during a very interesting time, for the modern era. What was that transition like for you as a player and the team when Coach Saban took over? Was there a huge culture shock?
Man, was it a culture shock? Oh, my language. Hell yeah.
I can imagine.
Man, look, man. I mean, it wasn't so much it was hard. It was just so much discipline. And I was a blue collar worker, so it wasn't hard for me to adjust. I mean, I'm just like, dude, here's the guys that I looked up to back in the day, like Dwayne Bowe, and he helped bring them in, and Michael Clayton. I was like, I'm a fan. So I had an opportunity because when when he got fired, we didn't even get a chance to say bye. Like, it was weird. We found out on the news. It was weird. He didn't even get to come in. So
there was no Twitter back then either.
Yeah. Facebook had just got started, I guess I'm telling my age now. But I guess I was in it was a dope era because now I was able to be around NFL talent players leaving, and then I got to be around a NFL coach. So I mean, it ended up working out, but culture shock, man, without question. I mean, Coach Saban, he cuts out the walk on like he do the starters. So I mean, it's nothing new. You know what I'm saying? But it was. I kid you not. Now the best offensive coordinator, people are probably gonna be like, man, what? The best offensive coordinator I ever had was Major Apple.
Yeah, I can see that.
Man, I was sick after he left. They gave me my first start. That was my sophomore year. They literally said, so I'm giving you this. Don't you ever look back. But he didn't say it like that. He said a whole bunch of mess with it. But that year, man, that with Coach Saban's first year, it was a fun year because it was a learning curve. And we went from like just a run team to a passing team. He literally changed the culture and made us buy in.
What did Nick Saban told you personally to do? What was the strategy that, hey, Mike, I want you to do this? Like, what did he want you to do that first year?
He wanted me to play fast. I was he helped me. He helped mold me. Now, if you don't know, I was an extremely hothead. I was a hothead. I was a hothead. Um, sure, Justin knows I'm from. Again, when they say you from Mississippi, ain't no talking. You say something I don't like, it's fight.
Yep.
So I fought quite a bit my first 2 years. All my teammates say I was. They used to call me a praying thug. I'll fight you 1 minute, and we gonna hold hands, and we gonna pray afterwards. But one thing about Coach Saban, it wasn't so much talking. It's like I remember my first touchdown. The first touchdown, man, he cussed me out for 3 series.
Wow.
Because I told the DB, I said, I mossed yo. You know what I'm saying? I stood over him. Man, Coach Saban cussed me out for 3 series, bro. And because they recruit some of my kids, and I see them at a couple games or something like this. And I said, Coach, you ain't got soft. He said, I had to. So I said, man, he good. Them boys get to talk mess and showboat now. He said, man, time to change these kids. They don't make them like y'all no more, man. So, but yeah,
I
he was
remember
just
that
a blue collar worker. Yeah.
I remember that touchdown against Houston, but I didn't know that part happened afterwards.
Man, he cussed me out for 3 series. Act like you been there. I'm talking about rip me. I'm talking about 3 series. It was almost like, damn, I shouldn't even score the touchdown, man.
Well, that being said, what were your main takeaways from that first season under his tutelage, and how did you grade yourself?
Me, in my mind, I was the next man up. I knew if I was done what I was supposed to do, I mean, I'm gonna hear my name called. The ultimate goal was, I mean, you've been a fan, and I'm sure. Well, recently it definitely has changed, but growing up, I mean, the pizza man didn't even deliver it over there. So,
yeah,
it was dirt roads. I was looking to get my mom where she didn't have to work no more. That was the biggest goal. So my goal was, everybody's so big on the national championship. I was focused on winning and hearing my name called, so my mom wouldn't have to work anymore. So, but my biggest takeaway from that year was just listen to the man. Be a blue collar worker and listen to the man.
How would you rate the team that season? How did they do after all?
Say that one more time.
How was that season overall? Like, how would you grade that season as a team itself, as a whole?
It was growing pains. I think a lot of those guys now, majority of that team, we were stepchildren in our minds to a certain degree. It's almost like you got grandfathered in, now you got a new parent, and you're used to getting away with certain things, and now you can't anymore. So now you're blaming the coach or you're blaming the circumstances.
Approaching year 2 of the process, not many people really expected much out of us quite yet. As the first game approached against Clemson, no one was giving us much of a chance. We actually shocked the world and demolished the Tigers 34-10. And I can remember in the post-game interview, Kirk Herbstreit was at a loss for words, which he never is. Can you guide us through what happened during that offseason that led to that big victory?
Oh man, Coach Saban took us to war, man. I thought I could have went to Afghanistan with 2 knives and came back, with a leather jacket on, man. It was he just had us really, really, I'm not even gonna say brainwashed, but man, like when they brought Coach Cochran in, dude, it was just the psychology behind it, bend but don't break type mentality. That's literally what we bend but don't break. With no bending over, you don't show any weakness. I remember the worst day, God honestly, we ran 36-110 without the workouts because people were missing them at certain times. So, I mean, bro, we got it. We were built. We designed ourselves that year. We knew what we wanted.
That year, you were stacked with a lot of wide receivers: Julio Jones, Marquise Mays, and I Nakia Stover. Tell us what were you guys' goals and what was your goal personally with the stack wide receiver class? Gosh.
Darius Hanks was in that group too. So
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Justin forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a stack. The goal was, let's eat. I kind of got a bit in the doghouse a little bit. Again, me being a hothead, because that year, it's like anything else. That was Coach Saban's first recruiting class.
Wow.
Those were the guys he handpicked. So there was a little tension to a certain degree, but every last player, again, like me, we all had the same agenda. Let's go out here, do our job, let's win, let's go home, and prepare for the next game. It was one game at a time, exactly.
Now, from that group, who really impressed you the most?
Julio, of course. He came in, we would tip the tap. He earned his keeps. He earned his keep. He was literally tunnel vision. We all brought something completely different to the group. He brought physicality. I would say I was the most complete receiver, like anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Mays was probably the most shifty. Like, you give him a ball in space, he can cut on a dime and leave change. Darius Hanks was a great route runner. Nikita was just a high jumper. You throw him the high ball. So we had a talented group. Everybody just brought something completely different to the game.
Anyone could have been quarterback that year.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, yes.
That year, it seems like every time the media called us out for the Prove It games, Alabama would show out, like in the blackout game against Georgia. And then we go down to Baton Rouge and we beat LSU in a thriller in overtime. We capture the SEC West title. Usually a team like that, who's not used to that type of success, tends to fold under pressure. What was different about you guys?
And Coach Saban kept us in-house. And what I mean by, we didn't have a life outside of football. He wouldn't even let us watch ESPN. He used to tell us, man, stop watching that. Stop listening to how good people telling you are. You're not good as you think you are.
Was the media fair to you guys back then?
Yeah, they were. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. When you started winning, and it was always it was business. And he prepared us for every game. And he was so down to the T, man. Like, again, you're only good as your leader, meaning, shit. So Saban caught me part that we got 6 a.m. workouts. I'm thinking I'm getting there early by trying to get there at 5 a.m. His car is already out there. So when you see that on a regular basis, man, not one day out the week, not 2 days out the week. This man is there every day. It's religious. You know what I'm saying? And you see him getting on the staff or the head position coaches, like, he talking to us. So it's almost like you gotta respect the man.
Going into that 2009 season, what was the atmosphere like, and when did you guys know, hey, we're going to win it all?
That spring.
Really?
The grass smelled different.
You felt
it looked a little greener that year. I remember us being out there. The wind was just right. You know how hot Tuscaloosa is.
Oh gosh, yes.
It's hotter than 10 hells out there,
man. And it stays that way till close to October.
But man, those spring and that summer, it was a nice breeze. Everybody was on one accord. The coaches didn't even have to get on us. We got on ourselves. It's almost like we were self-governed. We knew what we had to do in order to make sure that everybody, we knew what we wanted, because in prior year, we lost to Florida. We out for blood. Ain't nobody safe.
What was the media saying back then? Like, were they predicting you guys to win it all?
Nah, everybody winning. It was Florida again. That's everybody. That's fan favorite. You
Of
know,
course,
man, most of the media people, they go on with success story. It's almost like, I mean, everybody wants a story. You know, nobody wants to be. It's almost like we only celebrate the hero when people are winning. You never celebrate the underdog.
right. And I want to focus on you that season. It was your senior year, so it's very special. You had a chance to do something pretty amazing that we hadn't seen since 1992. What were your goals going into your final year?
Play well, stay out the doghouse. That was pretty much it. If anybody tells you, I'm very outspoken. If I see something I don't like, they would tell you. Um, so I was very outspoken, and that got me in trouble a lot of times. So the games that I did not start, it was because I probably said something that these coaches did not agree with. Uh, I mean, like I know any receiver who wants the ball, you going, hey man, feed me, bro. I'm wide open. Throw the
Hmm.
ball. I'm catching 15 passes in practice, and I'm catching 2 in the game. We got a problem. That math is off.
Now for your
You know what I'm saying?
now for your
But
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's your last. That's your last rodeo. You're trying to go out guns a blazing. But my us that year, it was fun. It was just every game was a good game. I mean, we got to win every win. We knew we were a step
It's a walk.
closer. So they tell you that y'all we contenders for the SEC, man. We knew we were finna beat the brakes off Florida.
You guys were like the 95, 96 Bulls. You knew you're gonna win every game.
Yeah, we knew it. And then when we saw Texas, I remember we saw them at Disney World. I mean Disneyland in California. Big soft marshmallows, cause we were clean, foot cut, baby face. They had the big beards. We walked different that year. We just knew it. We knew what was up.
What were scouts telling you? Hey, Mike, this is your last year. Were they telling you to improve in certain things, or you're pretty much had a good value coming in?
Believe it or not, yes, had a pretty good value. It was just like, man, we just need more production. That was pretty much. I think me to being in the doghouse, I would have probably heard my name called when I had to go to play arena ball, and probably could still be probably playing now. But when you let outside people or outside scouts inside of your mind or the locker room, that external noise, it causes a lot of tension. So, I guess if I can go back and tell myself anything is, man, shut up, play ball, keep tunnel vision, and just enjoy the game.
So, what did it mean to you playing for a national championship? I mean, that's something Alabama fans hadn't heard in like forever going into that season. Yeah, but you individually, what was going through your mind? What was your heartbeat going into that game against Texas?
Oof.
That just never died. I mean, that's legendary. That's something that man, people in Alabama celebrate a national more than people have Super Bowls. They don't. It's just different. I don't even think a pro team would be able to survive here just based on it's either the kids I train, it's either Alabama or Auburn. You're like, I remember I was in IMG and I had me and Cam were running routes. I had to catch some passes for him. Working out, I had my Alabama gear on. Yeah, on this orange stuff. It was almost like just, just different. You know what I'm saying? You look at each other. You don't even want. I don't even like that orange. That hurts my eyes.
Yeah, amen.
But man, it just I don't know. What it means is like, hey man, you gonna be good forever. As long as you're in Alabama, man, and you do what you're supposed to do, they gonna forever love you.
You're absolutely right on that. Your legend never dies in Alabama. So going into your NFL experience, you just won a national championship. And what were scouts telling you at that point? And then how was your pro day?
So my pro day was really good. Put up really good numbers. Hit 16. Almost with a 38 and a half. I jumped forward there, so I shuffled my feet. Broad jumped 10-8, 10-6. And I ran a 4.5. Dallas had me at a 4.57, and Seattle had me at a 4.52. So I had some pretty decent numbers. A lot of my stuff was skewed. Now I didn't get a phone call is because I got labeled a hothead. So that's how I ended up playing arena ball.
Wow.
So when I played arena ball, I had a chance to go play in Canada. I was like, heck no. Literally, I knew I was going to be in Green Bay, which was 10 minutes away from Canada, you know. But it was a good experience. The team, when I went to play in Green Bay, I was the youngest out there by 4 years.
Really?
And I was the only one who didn't have NFL experience. I was out there with first rounders. Like AJ Nicholson was my linebacker. They played at Florida State. So I was out there with some sheer talent.
And how was what was Green Bay telling you? Like, were they saying, "Hey, you're a keeper, but you got to do this and that"? Like, what was the whole goal there being in Green Bay?
That was I'm going to get my charger. My phone's about to die. I'm sorry.
Your thing, man. We need you.
Green Bay, the goal was do 1 year because this was the year. This is when arena ball was still guys were still going to the league from arena ball. You know, they were getting opportunities, they were getting shots. So that was my plan. And they tried to get me when I got traded, sent to Reading, PA, which was a phone call like a day before. So I ended up going to play at PA. And what else? Hold on one second.
Do your thing, man. Yeah, Justin's quite interesting. Back then, what Mike was telling me, I mean, I'm having like these opportunities playing with arena football and like the opportunities back then. You don't hear that much today.
No, you know, guys were still, like I said, majority of the teammates I had, all of them had NFL experience. A lot of the guys I played with, like we were playing for peanuts then. You know, everybody was, you know, we fighting over food type stuff.
How was the level? I mean, like, how was like the quality of play for arena football? Was it good quality or was it like one step back?
Heck no. You saying, man, look, you remember when at McDonald's, man. But the good thing about it is, man, that's where I really understood football. That's where I learned how to play. I really learned how to run routes because everything had to slow down and you had to allow plays to develop. And like an outside, you do it, you don't think about 1st and 10 and stuff like that. You have to do that playing arena ball. You got to run the spots. And it's almost like playing against a mature, older guy where you may be faster than him, you may be stronger than him, but he's going to beat you with wisdom. That's what I was exposed to when I went to arena ball. So believe it or not, when I quit arena ball, I was like, I'm done. That's when I got my NFL call. I was down at IMG. So Coach Cochran was like, me and him had a long phone call. I was like, hey man, I think I want to be a strip coach. And he was like, that's the best news I ever heard. He hung up the phone. He said, I'm gonna call you. He was like, before I hang up, he said, I'm gonna call you right back. So he hung up the phone. I'm thinking he just blowing me off or something. He called me back like 5 minutes later. It was like, when can you be in Florida? Like, man, when do I need to be? He said, this Friday. This is like a Monday or a Tuesday afternoon. And I got shipped off. I went off to IMG. I did an internship with the intentions of going back and playing going to coach college ball. While I was down at IMG, guys like Randall Cobb, who we played against, and what's Ruben? Big Tuba Ruben. He played for the Cleveland Browns. Like we were playing basketball in the rec ball. And they saw me dunking the ball, like windmill, and just playing ball. And I was like, dude, why the hell are you not in the league? Conversations were had. 3 days later, the Cleveland Browns called me. Somehow they end up getting my film, and we're like, man, we're thinking about bringing you in. I was like, dude, I'm done. Like,
Wow.
football has broken my heart quite enough that I'm done with it. Like these kids nowadays, they don't love football.
No.
I'm just like, if you haven't cried in your car, you ain't cried over it multiple times, you don't love it. I said it's like a bad marriage. It's like, I mean, it's tough. We were addicted to the grind, man. I was addicted to success. So I had to make up my mind, and that's where I met my business partner down there. Sad note, him and I are actually splitting. He's actually about to go to Texas and start up a gym. So I'll be 100% here. But yeah.
Were you also like approached by the CFL?
Yes, I did several workouts with them. I had a couple of contracts on the table. That was before I signed to play arena ball.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not going to Canada. That's what I told my head. I'm not going to no doggone Canada. And who knows what would have happened? So.
What were you hearing about the CFL back then? Was it like
yeah, guys,
a lot of positivity about it, around it, or was it kind of like, no, that league is not that good, or what were you hearing?
I don't know. I guess in my mind, if it wasn't the NFL, I didn't want to do it.
I got you.
The green, like me playing arena ball was like last. Like that was the last. I only played because I was trying to keep current film. I wanted to show that I was still in shape. I wanted to show that I'm still ready to go. So whenever that phone call happens, I got up-to-date film. I'm doing one and done. It's like doing a bid. I said, I'm going to jail for a year. And, I'm coming out. Let's get it. And
yeah. Were you there, like, were you seeing some players that you recognize from college? Like, oh man, I can't believe he's here.
Yeah. Some of them, like I said, AJ Nicholson. Now, believe it or not, I met the best player I've ever played against. I've been around in arena ball. The best player I have ever seen and been around. His name is Jamil Sue. He was the quarterback in Virginia back in the day. I mean, I've been around first round draft picks like Rolando and Terrence Cody, Kareem Jackson. Like, I've been around. I'm like, how in the hell are you not in the NFL?
Wow. Don't you think yeah.
Go ahead. No,
I
was just basically. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, Mike, you're the guest. You're first.
I think this is where I come up with. I said, for every Michael Jordan that makes it to the NBA, you got 100 that'll walk in the street.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids, so that's why I'm big on stats with a lot of my athletes. Is because I'm just like, man, all the stars have to align perfectly in order for you to make it. Not saying that you won't, but we're all system players. Because you got guys that are no name in college, go to the NFL and become superstars. And you have guys that are superstars that go to the NFL and you don't hear about them anymore. So we're all system players. You got to go to the right system and the stars have to line up. But I'm going to tell you about this kid, Jamil Sue.
Go ahead.
We were in practice. He's right-handed. He was getting tackled, threw the ball 40 yards with his left hand and completed the pass. Somebody got hurt on offense. They put him at wide receiver. The boy had 10 catches, 150 yards. Put him on defense, had 3 picks one game. I ain't never seen nothing like it. Just IQ was just real. If he takes his shirt off, you're like, you don't even play football. You don't play football. He just gifted, man. I've never seen anything like it, man.
Back to arena football. Do you think NFL? I mean, like, do you think? I mean, back when you were there like NFL scouts looking, or do you think there was very few, or
No, I mean, it was some scouts at the game now.
Okay.
You know, you got guys that are off in, and you hear guys play with a couple guys that end up getting moved up. But man, I mean, I think to
Because you
see
don't
it,
see too many people from like arena football going to the NFL. I mean, as far as I know.
no, I'm with you right now. Like times have changed. This social media thing is at an all-time high. You know, you got guys that are just say he can do a backflip and dunk on a 12-foot goal now, and a GM or somebody sees it, they'll bring guys in.
Wow.
But it's been several occasions while we were playing arena ball, the guys got invited to private workouts.
I gotcha.
Now, do they make a roster? That
That's another
still
question.
remains to be seen. But it's
Yeah.
like, again, the stars got to line up.
Yeah,
and
you can't mess up. You got to make. You're just absolutely
and
right.
even with the guys I have now that are on NFL roster teams, it doesn't matter if you're better than this kid. They are going to play who they pay. That's just simple. If they got a guy that with a big contract, and you may be better than him. This is NFL teams, and their incentives in those contracts. They're going to make sure that the guy who they paying the big money is going to get that contract. You know, it's a lot that goes into it.
Do you think, or do you hope that the XFL or another second division league should be at a force in America, so some players can have that second chance? Do you think like there should be a stronger second league after the
I
NFL?
definitely do. It definitely has to be something that attributes, because I mean, bro, it's a 53-man roster, it's 32 teams. And then you got practice players. That's less than 1,800 players in the entire world. In the entire world, they call themselves NFL players. So they gotta have a secondary team or something. Developmentally, you got to. But
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, like I got a cornerback that just signed an arena ball contract with a shot. And if you put him in a room with full of NFL DBs, you would not be able to tell them apart. It's just he went to a small HBCU and didn't have the name. And then you got scouts that are so in love with these 40 times, or guys who are good test takers but not good players. You know, it's a lot, man. I mean, we could talk about this all day.
I know this
40 is
topic
overrated.
really fantasized me because I think there should be a second league. Justin and I were talking about last year when like there was like the alliance. Justin, we were seeing what 15 players going to the NFL or something.
There was more than that, and there are a lot of players, mainly the Birmingham Iron specifically, were just emptying out their roster to a lot of NFL squads, and a lot of those guys are still there too.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I worked out several guys that were out there. I was fortunate enough to do a private workout while I warm the guys up and get the guys ready. So it was a first class organization. And believe it or not, you guys saw it. I'm sure you guys know Birmingham was supporting it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were.
It's just unfortunate, man, that they went bankrupt, man. It's crazy, but it's so much talent. And even the same thing with basketball, even D League, I feel like they need to have another league. I feel like you got to put it in a big city where the fans will get behind it. But yeah, I think they need a league for basketball and football. And there need to be multiple leagues. And I think if they did it where it was year round, like NFL, we don't infringe on your season. We do it in the spring, or we do it in the summer months, so we don't step on your toes. I think, that way, everybody know who the big brother is at the end of the day.
Yeah. And to be honest, when I saw like so many players coming from the Alliance, I think the Alliance had more players going to the NFL than versus like the CFL ever in like the past 5 years.
Which is crazy, man. Everything is about opportunity, and it's you got some guys that are in shape right now. They just hadn't got a phone call. Like one of my guys that just got picked up by Oakland. He hadn't heard nothing in 2 months, and just got a phone call. He got to leave Wednesday, well, tomorrow actually, and be ready. And we don't even know what type of drills he got to do or anything. Just like, hey man, be ready. So it's cut and dry, man.
Yeah. So you've been doing a whole lot of training with current players, right? Or like players that are ready to be pro. Like, what have you been up to lately?
Christian, a lot of guys I see. I've been fortunate enough to be around some kids. Last 8 years, we've probably helped get over almost 200 kids into college.
That's awesome.
So it's been a blessing, man. So every year we have at least 12 to 14 kids go out to school that come through. Now they get the scholarships on their own. They just come to me when it's time to transition from high school to college. Or I got kids early as 6 trying to, so my first client actually Maceo T. He's the starting number 2 for Baylor.
That's awesome.
2 guard for Baylor basketball. So I mean, and I've had him since he was in 8th grade. So it's been a blessing, man. I get a chance to see guys like I got Casanova McKenzie, Christian Jones. I had Trent Richardson, of course, when he was playing. Blake Sims when he was getting signed. I've had Irv Smith in the gym. You name them. They have probably been Quindarius Robinson that just got picked up that just signed with Bama this past year. So, been very fortunate.
Let's actually talk about that. For a lot of the listeners and people who are following along outside of Alabama and Mississippi, don't really know about the Warehouse Performance Institute. Can you kind of give us the idea of when you got the vision for this and what led you down this path and where you're at today with it?
Well, long story short, I knew I didn't have this growing up, and I was like, we need to create a space where we can have the total athlete, meaning mind, body, and spirit, everything lines up. Now, I'm on them because I can say, but at the same time, I've done nothing to ever belittle them. I have my kids meditate. I give them homework assignments. I make them read. So I don't train buffaloes. I train kids to be cheetahs, jackrabbits, and just explosive. And,
awesome.
And a yard dog, pit bull mindset. We don't show any weakness whatsoever. Like my gym is not for everybody, and I'm cool with that. We only have kids that want to. I need a kid who has a chip on his shoulder. By me saying that, I want the kids that saying, I don't want to be picked last anymore. Because if you show me that you have heart, I can give you the confidence and the mindset. I can do all that, but I can't give you heart. So those are the kids that I come in with. And those are the kids that I look for. All my kids have to maintain an AB average.
Oh.
And C's puts you on probation. I don't do it.
Wow.
That's awesome. That education is important.
Yeah, education is, because at the end of the day,
it's tough. We got to do
it. That's so incredible. What you said right there is that you're giving these new students or these new athletes a level of accountability that, quite frankly, is not being preached to them. You're telling them, hey, to make it on the field, you got to make it in the classroom. I mean, that's huge right there. I remember when I was playing in Northwest, my dad said, if you don't have a B average, you're not playing ball. I goofed around once and missed a spring, and I was back the rest of the way. But can you just touch on that part again about that accountability in the classroom that you are giving to these players?
I mean, that's the biggest thing. You're a student or you're an athlete. And I talked to 2 universities yesterday. I got a kid that's going to be pretty good. And that's my biggest thing. Go ahead.
Recruits call you a lot, don't they?
Either a text message or when they fishing. It depends on what you got over there. I know you got 1 and 2.
I knew it.
Or it's almost like, hey man, what do you you know, a lot of times it's almost like, what do you think of, what is this kid a character like? That's the biggest thing. The schools already know who they want, but it's almost like, how is this character? Because that's the biggest thing. These kids don't understand. Like we teach classes on what to post and put on your social media.
That's awesome.
It's business at the end of the day. It's how you conduct yourself. It's how you carry yourself. You know, I mean, because if I get a kid, and I mean, I even deal with agents all the time. So when I'm dealing with guys getting ready for the pro days or their combines, I too tough typically don't want to deal with high draft picks. They are the biggest divas, man, because they don't have any accountability.
Right.
I'm not surprised.
When you don't, thank God I had two older brothers. When you don't have an accountability, like when it's all said and done and you don't pan out to who you think you should have been or what you should have been, you're mad at the world. How do you come to a university 4 years and don't get a degree and it's paid for?
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So and then you mad or you point your finger at somebody because it didn't pan out. So I'm big on these kids. I don't belittle any of them, but I'm on them like some tight jeans, Jack. Them grades don't match. You ain't working out. You go to Planet Fitness. You go to another trainer who's gonna tell you how good you are. But at the end of the day, you gotta face the smoking mirror. You gotta look in the mirror.
You need some tough love. That's what you give them.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, we're almost running out of time, so let's turn the corner a little bit.
Absolutely. Before I hit the rapid fire questions, can you tell us what your next big goal is for the warehouse?
That's tough. I wanted
It's a
to
secret.
literally be I literally wanted to be basically a Disney World for sports. Like you look at times right now, these kids don't even have basketball courts where they can just go play pickup basketball anymore. They don't have a safe haven. And I want to create a space where everybody can come in and say, hey man, I'm finna hoop. We're gonna get after it a little bit. I mean, we talking about so much color and racism right now. We're dealing with it so much at all time high. The beautiful thing about sports is they don't know no color. Can you hoop? Can you catch a pass? Can you ball when your number is called? That's the beautiful thing about it. So that's the kind of space I want to create. I have a huge diversity right now, but I want it to be a Disney World of sports where eventually I turn into an academy of some sort. Or if I continue to stay in that realm, or what if I decide to go to college? That's been floating around as well.
Well, this is time for rapid fire. Quick questions, quick answer. Mike, would you rather be a coach or a recruiter?
Coach.
Well, Alabama, which team did you look forward to playing the most?
LSU.
Which player was the best player you played against?
On my team or just against?
With and also like your opponent. Yeah.
That's tough. So you saying rapid fire play with a lot of great players. But,
I could tell.
Probably the guy who I played against who gave me the most trouble was a DB named DJ Moore, who played at Vandy, played for Chicago for a long time.
Wow.
Every time I caught it, he was on me like he was on my heels like a flip flop. I mean, I couldn't go. It wasn't no yards out the catch. It wasn't. If I passed gas, he tell me what I ate for breakfast. That he had my number. Probably the best DB on my team. He had Marquise Johnson don't get enough credit.
Mm-hmm.
I heard
he was tough. He wasn't the biggest. He don't get enough credit. Marquise Johnson and Alonzo Lawrence before he got transferred. With some tough guys.
What does Mike McCoy look like in a Steve Sarkisian offense?
Oh man, I'm eating. Oh man.
Great question.
Oh man, I'm eating. Josh Chapman called me and said, "Man, I found your twin up here." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said that boy Smith. He said that kid Smith is identical from what you would have been in this offense.
Incredible.
He said
Kobe.
Devontae Smith. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, LeBron or Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
Good job. Thank you.
I agree with that sentiment. Best barbecue spot in Tuscaloosa.
That's tough.
I know it is. I know.
There's a couple of them, aren't they?
It's a couple of them. There's a couple of them. I can't think of my spot off the name of the head. Crap. It's almost in Northport.
Archibald's.
Yes, Archibald. That was my spot.
Who was your favorite player from last season's team?
My favorite player?
Yeah.
Ooh. I gotta go with Devontae Smith.
Interesting. Everyone says Ruggs for some reason.
Devontae Smith. If you ask me, I'm a receiver as best. He was the most complete receiver.
Interesting, Justin.
I like that. I like a little bit of diversity. 'Cause, yeah, like you said, pretty much everyone has been saying Henry Ruggs. You know, a little bit leaning on Jerry Jeudy, but right now Henry Ruggs has been the choice receiver. But
Now,
I'm
do
gonna
you
tell
think
you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody is upset. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't race him. I mean, look, the boy is a NASCAR, straight gas. But when you talk about a complete receiver, that means getting in and out of my breaks. That means high pointing the ball. I'm a pass catcher. It's soft. There's not a route that he can't run. There's nowhere that you can't. Smith did it all. He was a utility man. That's
absolutely.
a complete receiver. He gonna block down the field. He understands spacing when he's running routes. Man, hey, underrated. If he would have got drafted this year, he was the first rounder this year.
Interesting. Now, for that wide receiver class versus yours back in 09, who was better? Let's be honest.
Ooh. But you're talking about offense. I tell you what, if you get my offense that if we had Major Applewhite, we had Major Applewhite as our offensive coordinator, 09. Our receiver class. You had me, Julio, Darius Hanks, and Mays. Oh man, come on now.
Hey, I'm asking.
And you had Nikita Stover. That's the Fab Five.
All right. What is the biggest takeaway from your career that you want this generation of athletes to learn from you?
Blue collar worker, man. Just work.
I like that, man.
Stop putting all
Awesome.
your business. You know, they showing everybody what they're doing. Like I had this conversation with my kids today. I don't get this I do get this generation. Let me say I connect before I always criticize. It's so weird to me that these guys they work out with their opponents. That's weird to me. It's almost like you're playing against your friends, and I'm just like, dude, you got to. Maybe I'm just old school. If I got a crimson uniform, this is how Coach Saban used to run it back in the day. This is how our practice used to be back in the day. If I got on a white practice jersey, you got on a red practice jersey, we didn't talk till after practice was over.
Yeah,
like, that's how we went. If one got the fight, we all got the fight.
Right.
And I guess I'm just not used to these kids. Oh man, that's my bro. Y'all ain't never met. So how are you sharing this guy's stuff? It's everybody. These kids will do anything for clout these days. They'd rather be famous than rich.
They'd rather be Twitter and Instagram famous.
Yes, than rich, and that makes no sense to me. That's crazy.
Now, has the game changed since you stopped playing?
Yes, it's nowhere near as physical.
Really? Wow.
I mean, you got guys that blindsided. They call them penalties for everything. It's not even physical anymore. It's a great time to be a wide receiver. I can tell you that. You ain't got to worry about. LeBron Landry coming down, blowing your head off. Or Myron Rose sticking their head in that window, or Rashad Johnson. You you know, you getting hit, they can move them chains or he getting ejected. So I ain't got to see him no more.
All right, I got one last question. And I asked you this earlier, but I feel like it needs to be asked again, especially for my folks back here near the Northwest Rankin area. In both your primes, who was faster, you or your cousin Cedric Horton?
Look, man, my cousin Cedric was, look, it's a whole, look, I'm a 6'3" monster, man. He'll probably get me in the first 20, but we talking 40 and 100. It wouldn't have been a race, man. Hey, it's been a race, man.
We have somebody here who might contest that, Mike.
Yeah, I hear him back there laughing. I hear him laughing.
I had a feeling he was going to catch him.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Sportscast, Sid. What do you think about what he said?
Man, you know what? I have to give it to Michael. You know, we grew up together. We grew up in the same house. And, you know, I remember when Michael first started playing ball. And as I told you before, Michael is a straight up legit athlete. Like he's the true definition of a ball player. When it comes to being an athlete, to the grit, and just having the heart and the mindset, man, the guy is bad. And, you know, to even think about playing with him, you know, I'm a couple years older than Michael, but, you know, man, he's tough. You know, he's everything that a ball player supposed to be. You know, if he was playing right now, he'd dominate because, as he said earlier, football, I mean, it's a fast game, but it's a game of tag. And that dude's he's the real deal. He was raw. Matter of fact, I think he's still raw today. So if you line up with him, you got to deal with him.
I appreciate the kind words. No, but he set the tone for football in our family. My brothers done played, but when he had that 2-1 on, that's what you know, I didn't want to be tall at one point. I wanted to be short and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Who told you?
You know, play tailback. You know, that's you aspire to be like somebody. So I had great examples, man. And like you said, man, we had some alpha males, like from our dad's on, man. You had to hold your own. Wasn't no crying. Get up, throw some dirt on it. We old school, man. I mean, I don't think they make them. I don't think the kids are like that anymore because these parents don't let you raise their kids anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I got in trouble by everybody. You skip school, your grandma gonna see you. You know, it was just how you raised.
That's Justin's family as well.
Yep, that's right.
It. So, you know, so Justin, you definitely know how it is. You know, we came up in a time where football was really tough. And, you know, me being, you know, 5'5", 130-pound, 5'8" running back and rushing 1,000 yards my 11th and 12th grade year, you know, and having good teammates. You know, I couldn't have done it without my teammates, but it was hard, you know. And now, you know, when I see kids and they say, you know, when I see running backs now, they're 215, and you're like, man, you know, if I was that size, what would I be, or where would I be right now? You know, but Michael, as I said, you know, this is his moment, and you know, to see what he's doing with these kids today, and he's grooming not just athletes but warriors. Warriors, not just for the field, but preparing them for life, you know, because after the game, it's real life, and he's preparing them for that. So again, Michael, I appreciate you, man, and much respect, and I love you, and I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it, man. That's family. That's likewise.
Wow, what a good tone for tonight. Definitely learn a lot about Mike and how you encourage kids to work hard, not just in football, but also in education. It's also an encouragement whoever's listening to it, you know, right now to this podcast. Justin, any closing words?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, Mike, I got to thank you for coming on. It's great just to hear your story. It's great to have a fellow Northwest Rankin player, and as well as an Alabama player. But not just that, you are winning the championship of life by what you're doing for these kids and the values that you are instilling in them that, quite frankly, society and even parents today are dropping the ball on. You're teaching them how to be young men and young women who are participating, who are going to be eventually successful in life, not just the court, not just the football field or whatever sport they choose. You're teaching them to become champions at life. And that's just so amazing. And I just got tip my hat off to you, man. And I thank you for what you're doing, man. Proud of you as a Northwest Rankin alum, Alabama alum. And man, I love to hear your story. I love how it's unfolding every day. God is truly blessing you and using you to change so many lives, man. So thank you for what you're doing and taking up that call He placed in your life.
Oh, man, all praise due to the Most High, man. I'm just grateful, man. I'm just a foot soldier, man. I just put on my work boots every day and go to work and try to enlarge my territory and pour into many people as I can. So, hey, man, I appreciate y'all even thinking enough of me to even consider me, man. I'm getting old. I'm getting on up there in age. So, only reason I work out is in case one of these little kids try to test me.
Mike, you look young, man. Like you look fit. Like you're ready to play ball right now.
Man, believe it or not, man, since my son was born, I had a little dad so I was like, oh no, Jack. So, I got on the scale. I scared myself. I said, I don't play no receiver no more. I was like, I played D tackle. So I had to step back, man. So I'm right now I'm sitting there. I played at 217, 215. I'm weighing about 225 right now. I'm trying to get back down to my playing weight, man. So trying to stay light, man, stay in shape.
And Mike, can you tell us what is the best way for parents or players to reach you if they want to go to your academy, and what criteria like they should be expecting?
I give everybody an interview. You can look me up on Instagram, Mike80_, Mike McCoy on Facebook. You can email me, Mike@WPItraining.com, or you can go to the website, WPItraining.com. So relatively easy to get in contact with. But I just want parents to know my gym is not for everybody, and I'm okay with it. I'm 1,000%. It's just like Alabama. It ain't for everybody.
It's true.
So you gotta know what you want. You gotta be in love with whatever you want to do. I just need the kids who have a chip on their shoulder, or the kids who say, man, look, I want to be great. All I need is a willing heart and a willing mind. I do the rest. Because it's tough. You got to have the grades. If your kids are not on honor roll, do not call me. If your kids they cry a whole lot, do not call me. I run my place like a college program.
What age group do you usually run with?
Majority of my clientele is either middle school to high school.
I gotcha.
But I do private works with kids 6 and up.
Well, Cedric, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what's like the best way to reach you?
Oh man, a little bit about myself.
He's being modest. Cedric was State Trooper of the Year, by the way.
I am. I am a state trooper, and I kind of do what Michael does. I train new troopers that's coming out, getting them prepared for the work field, for the highways, and it's kind of like what Michael was saying earlier. The generation has changed so much. I don't want to deal with a lot of people unless you have that true, that grit to want to get out there and learn and take, and take serious what you do, because for my line of work, the way that you left home, you may not return, or you may not return at home at all. So when you come home, when you come and do this job, it's not even a job, it's a career. I need all of you. If you give me all of you, and things don't work out or come out, you still take pride in the results after the fact. So that's what I want. I want sharp people, man. Sometimes give me the least likely candidate, and I can make them a monster.
That's
give
awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
Justin Riley. I'm kidding. Well, Cedric, really pleasure having you on. Justin, tell us the best way to reach you and what's going on for next Tuesday.
Okay. Well, you can reach me on Twitter at JustinRiley7, Instagram as well at JustinRiley_7. I will also help contribute to the Sportscast on Twitter and Instagram. Same handle at the Sportscast1. Next week, we will be meeting again as a surprise. So you want to stay tuned.
Mac Jones, right?
I don't know if I have that kind of weight.
We can make it happen. Maybe Mike can help us out to get Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is busy with camp.
Hey guys, what are your thoughts about like with college football coming this fall? Do you think SEC will eventually play this fall, or do you think they'll eventually fold and play till next year?
Ooh,
We've been hearing, Mike.
I think they'll play maybe 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a full season.
What do you say 3
surprised.
and why not full? Like, what have you been hearing?
I mean, I haven't heard too much. Nobody knows. I feel like this is the pandemic that we're dealing with. I mean, we're still in the same boat since March, you know? Nobody knows.
It's like the weather. You just don't know till like the day of.
Or the moment of, yeah.
What do you think, LeCedric? You think there will be an SEC full season, or you think it'll be a partial one?
It's going to be partial. It's not going to be a full season. It's too much at risk. Yeah. So.
Justin, you hear that?
Well, the thing is, I have to agree with Cedric and Mike, you know, just from the standpoint of seeing how everybody is reacting here lately. You know, North Carolina just shut down.
Wow.
You know, you got other schools that are thinking about doing the same. You got conferences who shut everything down, schools who canceled everything. And so just kind of just following the trend, people are making decisions based off of emotion and out of panic right now. You know, so much is just so uncertain. And I kind of feel like after about game 3 or 4, if all of a sudden, you know, 5 players end up contracting it, I think it's going to just send everybody into a complete halt.
Go downhill
I would love to see the season played out completely. That's a dream. I think we all want to see that, but it's just so much uncertainty right now.
Incredible. I've not heard that argument, but it makes a lot of sense. Tyler and I were talking about if the ACC, you know, postpones their season, there goes the ACC, right, Justin?
I mean, possibly. I mean, the SEC, I think, is making their own decisions based on what they want to do, and they're not really watching anybody else.
Do you think they're willing to play without a national championship? Just go for the SEC and that's it. Call it a day.
Winning the SEC is the equivalent of winning a national championship.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'll do that, man. I would not mind. I mean, if SEC goes solo, the money coming in for that should be good.
It's tough, man. We talking money, talking about. I mean, that's what we talk with these kids. Because I got a lot of seniors that may not have a season as well. So
yeah,
it's tough all the way around. Yeah, man. Because I mean, yesterday, one of my kids, we was at a receiver private. He had got a text message. Man, they canceled the game on Friday. So this is a premier school. This is Hoover High School. So I mean,
it's not good for high schoolers.
Know.
Yeah,
man, it's catch-22. Do I play? Like my wife? When I come home, man, I got to get naked in the car garage. I can't. My wife ain't let me come home. And
I understand. Spray
I got an infant in the house. Yeah,
and the thing with high school, like you can't extend a another year. Like that's it.
That's it.
I don't know. I got a lot of kids. Their parents are talking about reclassifying them. So I don't know.
Can they do that?
Crazy, man. Say that again.
Can they do that or?
Man, look, it's always way around everything, man.
I know, man.
I've
heard.
You got kids, you got that, and you got prep school. You know, you got kids that can be homeschooled. Because right now, these kids here, they're only going to school 2 days a week.
Wow.
So everything is supposed to be virtual.
We'll definitely keep that in mind, and obviously every day changes, just like the weather. Things could change last minute, so we'll definitely see what happens. ACC, I know there's a few schools kind of having some doubts, like Notre Dame and North Carolina, and of course Justin Riley will definitely keep us up to date on what's going to happen with the SEC. Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on to the Sportscast.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Appreciate you.
Justin?
I enjoyed it, man. Another great evening, and I especially appreciate Mike. I definitely appreciate Cedric for being our surprise guest.
Thanks,
too.
Cedric, for coming.
Man, thank you for the invite, fellas.
Anyways, one more thing, Justin, do the honors.
Roll Tide.
Oh,
Roll Tide. God bless, guys. Have a good night.